I am officially bulletproofed. Yes, that's why my skin is glowing and I'm looking ripped and jacked. It's because every morning I take my mycotoxin-free bulletproof coffee and mix it up with MCT oil and grass-fed butter. Why, do you ask? Well, it does a lot of things. It replaces my meal for the morning, and it gets my brain all the right nutrients they need. Those oils, that fat, and then I don't eat until 1 or 2 o'clock. So it's not really just coffee. It's turning into a lifestyle.
And it's not that might makes right, it's just that might makes right now. So that's kind of the sentiment. I think people are very cynical of anything that has to do with government. I think it's almost like when the Snowden thing happened, to address that question head on, the people kind of expected it.
Yeah.
And you found individuals that you thought would be the most liberal individuals in the world. Oh my God, this is an affront to democracy. You have people like Al Franken, who came on as some darling of the left, who's now justifying it. Franken, you're a fraud, dude. And Obama's up there saying the government's not listening to your phone. Yes, they are. They're listening to your phone calls. It's an interesting truth. The average American citizen probably breaks 2 laws every day, but they only choose to enforce it on the people that are critics of the government. They find critics of the government as suspicious when aren't the people who are taking the most advantage of government and robbing or blind those people that pledge to love America more than everybody else? Those are the real pimps and hustlers. That you should be investigating those people, but you're not. You're doing stop and frisk on young black and Latino males. You didn't stop and frisk any Wall Street bankers. You're not going into their emails and hacking all their shit to find out where they dumped all the money from American taxpayers who are now left homeless in the street because of that housing crisis, a crisis that extended itself to here in England as well. And I think that people genuinely see that as disingenuous. There are more hate groups that have arisen. You have people like that with the EDL or the BNP here, where you have a small fringe group of people that get a lot of media attention because they talk loud and they say stupid things. But then look at the reality of it is, if you want the quote-unquote foreigners out, then why don't you get the fuck out of their country? Why don't you stop? If you don't want the influx of quote-unquote foreigners, then how come you want to control their countries and control their resources? If you don't want them physically here, give them back their diamonds, give them back their oil, give them back all the food, natural resources that you take from them. Oh, and another thing, you're not scared of our women. You love bringing them here, huh? You love taking advantage of that, but you just don't want the men here. That's the problem, too.
Is the government surveilling you, do you think?
If they are,
Do they ever fuck with you?
watching me jerk off. What are you people? You're a sick fuck out there if you're watching me. All right, that's what you're doing. You're watching me jerk off, huh? You're watching me take a shit. Is that what this is about? Probably. But it's so pathetic. I mean, I've definitely been harassed though, brother. I've had my father audited by the IRS, and I'm just like, yo, man. Seriously, my father, what the hell did he do? They thought I was hiding money. They have accused me of being a drug dealer, all kinds of ridiculous things, trying to throw charges at me, having the feds harass me, Homeland Security showing up at my house. Come on, man, I don't get fazed by that. I don't buckle. Why? Because I know I'm not riding dirty. You're going to have to plant something on me, and then the whole world's going to know that you planted it on me. There was a case where the government brought up charges on a kid called Cameron D'Ambrosio, and they said, you're making terroristic threats because he made a song saying he didn't believe the London bombings, the Boston bombings was real, and he didn't trust the president. He said, fuck Obama or something like that. And I was like, really? You gonna bring him on trial? I said, yo, why don't you put me on trial? Let's have a conversation on record and let me question the people who are in government who are accusing me of something, because I would love to have that conversation, but I don't really think you're really built for that. I think you like going after caged deers, and there's no honor in that for me. You don't want a real brawl, just like this country. This country don't want a real fight. The UK don't want a real fucking fight. Yeah, you're going to go, stick your nose into Syria, stick your nose into Iraq and Afghanistan. You don't want a real fight. In other words, you don't want to tussle with Russia. You don't want to tussle with China. And now some conservative idiots watching this be like, oh, well, they would just nuke us. That's the point, dude. You don't have the opportunity to just beat somebody up with a weapon when they're unarmed. Another worthy foe vanquished in Panama, the U.S. has, when you haven't won a war since World War II. You didn't win in Vietnam, didn't win in Korea. You had to call a draw because them Chinese brought them boys down. So A lot of people died, unfortunately. Then we didn't win in Iraq. We're not winning in Afghanistan. So where are we winning? What are we doing? You know, and I think that goes directly to the question you asked before, that it's not, the empires and governments don't fall apart when they start losing wars. They fall apart when the people no longer believe in them.